We're ready.
Say 20 pounds?
Yeah.
20 pounds we put in with the pump. Girls are ready. Everyone's ready. Fire in the hole. Oh! All right, as you can see from the intro there, we are today building a full air-powered rocket system. We did get a little bit crazy and we ended up 3D designing my own automatic parachute launcher built with a little bit of a Tomy timer here, so it's all mechanical parts for full deployment. So follow along, all the links are down in the description for all the parts builds and everything you need to make this little air-powered rockets. You can just build little simple paper rockets. You get a launch with a little electronic switch and they'll blast off probably 100 yards, maybe even more, 100 to 200 yards, either up or over. What's fun about this is you can also hook up little parachute guys to parachute down. You can adjust the angle of attack. And most importantly, you get to spend some time building your projects with your kids. All right, so here's a breakdown of the cost because everyone always asks me about this. Here's all the parts you would need if you were buying everything from scratch. I think you can get away with around $60 to $70, assuming you don't have anything.
One.
For a little bit.
Whoa! Oh my goodness.
Go. Wow.
I can't believe how far that goes.
Whoa.
Dang! All right, so everything's just laid out here. This is how it's gonna go. I just bought this. This is 1.5 inches right here. The 10-foot section, I cut it down in about 2.5 foot lengths. Of course, I'm gonna cut this right there, leave a little space right there, and those pieces are gonna go in there. The valve will go there. And I'll end up screwing in the end here for my valve stem. So that just comes out with a little threaded reducer here, goes into the sprinkler valve, threaded little T here. This comes up into my 1-inch PVC. And that's pretty much it. So you glue everything together nice and tight. It's pretty big. I'm not sure how much air pressure it'll take, but I do have enough room. If I need to put another T in here and T across to get more volume of air, I can do, 2 T's at least in there. And then there's our firing wire with plenty of line. So we're gonna glue it up, do our first little test. All right, so the valve stem is gonna go in here, so we gotta drill out a little hole right here. I actually already had this valve stem. You can pick these up at an auto parts store. So I'm actually not sure on the size, it doesn't say. So I just took a caliper and went right around here, and it turns out it is around 14 millimeters. So we are going to drill that out. You'll probably need a stepper little bit like this if you don't have like a 14 millimeter drill bit. So we'll drill down to 14 millimeters, put this through from the backside and pull it out. And then pull it out with some pliers and seat it in there nice and tight, and we'll give it a test. All right, so we dry fit everything, we're ready to glue. So we're gonna use a little primer and glue. So just remember, you prime it, glue it, and remember whenever you put in a joint, you wanna put in and then do just a little bit of a half twist so you get the glue all the way around. We're just gonna kind of work all the way around until we finish this last little piece here. It's kind of weird.
What the heck? Smells nasty. Sweet.
All right, last little bit, we're just wrapping these little thread fittings with Teflon tape so that we can put all these in. And then we'll do our first shot. You wanna let your glue cure for at least 30 minutes, an hour, something like that. And we'll be good to go. All right, this is the part for our little launch pad. So because the solenoid here in the sprinkler valve runs on a 24 volt, we can't just use a single 9-volt battery. So if we just wire them like this, you can actually just plug them in like this. And this is they're just gonna plug in like that. And that actually runs in series. And then you have 9 times 3, which is 27 volts. So, which is just a little bit over that, which will be perfect. So then this is just gonna be our positive and our negative. So that's one line's gonna run up to there and this one's gonna run out. And then when we flick the switch, the solenoid should pop. So we're gonna wire up this like this. We just created this little box for this. We just 3D printed this here. And then we'll just get this and place that on there. And we're actually just gonna tape this up there and get it all in place. We'll show you that once it's wired up. All right, so here we are wired up. You can see that we've got the positive side coming over here to the positive, and then positive back out, and then the negative comes off the negative terminal here and just all the way back around into the loop, and then they come into each side of your sprinkler valve. It doesn't matter which one goes on which, you just basically put one on each. Of course, put wire nuts or quick connects or something on there. We just kind of stranded them really quick to do some tests. And you'll see here now when I click the button, more closer, this should make a clicking noise, which is that solenoid popping up here. So listen. Hear that click? That releases the pressure and then allows the air to go through, pops up the plunger, and then a burst of air comes out. So that's pretty much how that works. Now, you can actually buy these little 9-volt connectors, which would kind of be a little bit easier. I didn't want to sacrifice this and cut it in half because we use this for a different project. But you could just easily cut that in half, and what I can do, I don't know if you can see there, you just pop the cap on with the wire, pop the other cap, you know, if you cut that in half, pop the other cap on that side. Then you got your 2 wires right here, and those 2 wires can just go right up here. One to this, and then the other one, you know, just continue in a loop. So buy one of those little guys. You can get them on Amazon, 10 pack for like $5 or something. Links down in the description. That'd be a pretty easy way. My son just ended up 3D printing a little cap that we used over here, which worked pretty well too. So, all right, second version. I'll show you. We loaded it up with our parachute. Girls are ready. All right, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, it's gonna go 10 feet in the air.
I feel good about this. Wait, should we put a cap on him? All right, no cap.
You ready, Mariah? 3, 2, 1.
All right, just a couple little changes. One thing I added was I just added a little bit of a threaded screw on the end of these. They're not actually glued in, they're just taped. And then I added just a little thread on top of this. And I wanted to do this because I have a 3/4 inch and a 1 inch, and I wanted to test a few different sizes. So you can just easily thread those down in, shoot off 3/4 inch rockets or 1 inch rockets. And then nice benefit is also they remove, so it's easily collapsible and storable. So I want to show you how to make a rocket. Here's a couple of the demo rockets we made. So you can see this one here is the 3/4 inch, and then here's a couple that were made out of the 1 inch. For the 1 inch rockets, I just used an 11 by 17 paper. Right, just a pad here of 11 by 17 and just pulled off a piece of paper. For the smaller rockets, I just got me art thing, right? These are 11 by 14. I wanted to get something a little bit taller than just regular printer paper. Plus it's nice and thick because it's like kind of cardstocky. So I'll show you how to make a rocket here. And then we'll be ready to go. So what you do is you just get your little template like this, you lay it down, and then you're just gonna roll this piece of paper nice up and flat like this. It has kind of a little rough side. You want that to be on the inside. And you wanna make this tight, but not too tight when you tape it. So you basically just roll it up like this, nice and tight. You don't really wanna do it on an angle because then you'll have too many air gaps you have to fill. The idea is to make this thing airtight. So you get a little piece of tape when you roll it up and just kind of tape this to hold it in place. Now I've got a little longer piece of tape right here that's the same size as your paper. Whoops, I just rolled up on me, but you'll get the idea here. And then this guy is just gonna go clear along this seam here. So you just tape this down like this. May need a friend to help you. And then just lay that down flat and wrap it around, okay? So that's the idea. And then of course we got some stickers. The kids put stickers and decorated and had a good time decorating their rocket. The only gotcha here is you do want to make sure that the rocket is not too tight. So it needs to slide like this slides. See how loose that is? But it's tight fitting, but yet there's not a lot of pressure. So you don't want to get tape and really wrap it around there tight like electrical tape, because that'll clamp it too tight and then it just won't shoot out. It needs to kind of be free moving like this. And then all you have to do is basically put a cap on it. You can do all sorts of things for caps. We did tape on some. On this one right here, we got an upside down little snow cone thing. Put it like that so we can take our little parachute guy and kind of stuff him in there. Put another snow cone on top so that he would fly out and fall down. You can experiment with stuff like that. Just kind of depends. Have some fun. Do whatever you want with your tips. Just as long as they're airtight so no air can escape, that's really all you can do. We also got a little pool noodle foam and put on the tip of some so they didn't crunch when they hit the bottom. That worked fine too. You can hot glue those little pool noodle things in the top. This one actually has a pool noodle in the top. It's airtight. Anyway, And then you just need to get some fins on. Okay, so to do the fins, you just basically take a piece of that cardstock and you just cut this, you know, at a little sort of right angle right here. And then I just did 2 pieces of electrical tape. Tape 1, 2, 3 fins on, each, you know, 33 degrees apart. These will really help the rocket fly straight and not kind of go over straight. So anyway, yeah. And then you launch them. So it works best when you set your rocket down and you put it, you don't want to just barely put it on a teeny bit. You want to get it mostly all the way down, but make sure it's still loose, of course. And then launch away. The other nice thing about this, the way I built it that I really, really like, and I did this on purpose, is that you can angle the rocket. So you want it like this, it's gonna shoot straight up, but it's really easy to just kind of say, okay, well, I'm gonna shoot these guys at an angle. So you just twist that and then your rocket's gonna blast off that way, and you can shoot them, right, any sort of angle you want. If you want it to go really far or really high, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Instead of a parachute guy, I'm gonna anchor the parachute to the actual rocket, so the rocket will float down nice and slow as well. So we may experiment with that, but we had lots and lots of hours of fun, as you can see. All right, here's how to put together the little parachute launcher. Of course, this assumes you've 3D printed all these parts. Again, link down in the description for a video I'll have on the full 3D model of this if you want to modify it for your own. The first step is to get apart your little Tomy timer, right? You tear apart your toy and you kind of get this guy apart. And you need to pop off the little end caps. There may be several little plastic pieces here. So kind of pop those off just as a heads up when you're popping those off. Make sure you clamp from one side and pop on the other side. Otherwise, you'll pull the entire bar all the way through. So for example, this guy right here, right? Hold from both sides as you're kind of working your way and pulling these little guys off so they don't accidentally pull out the metal bars. So I'm gonna wheel this guy off right here. So there we go. And now the Tomy timer is all set and ready to go. Perfect. All right, so next we need to get this little 3D printed part here on the little Tomy timer. It's got a little hole in here that's printed with about the same diameter as the little pin. So what we're gonna do is just heat this pin up. This is PLA, so it'll go on really easy. It'll just slide right on there and then kind of cool down and stay in place like that. You wanna make sure you get this on this orientation, not like this, because then the rubber band won't be able to snap off. So it has a slight angle in there on purpose to help the rubber band snap off, but that's how it's gonna go. So you can just either use a little match, would probably actually do fine here. I've got this little torch I'm gonna use, and I'm just gonna heat this pin up. Now you don't wanna heat the pin up too much because it could potentially melt the little plastic gears in the middle of the pin and cause you problems. So I'm just gonna heat this up real quick here a little bit. Again, not too terribly much, because it should go on pretty quick. Okay, I'm gonna call that about good. Shut this guy off, and let's see if I can get this guy on. So again, it's gonna go like that. And you can see how easy that goes on when it's hot. Push it in about as far as you want it. And right about there. So that's how that's gonna go. I probably could have got that a little bit more, but that's okay like that. So I'll let that cool. This guy is gonna mount just inside of here. So on mine, I actually have to trim off this little, you can see there's a little top piece. I need to trim that off with an X-Acto knife. And then that's gonna sit right in there like that. And inside of here once I trim that. And then now let's do the next little piece, which is the inside, all right? So the little spring I showed you earlier, the spring you're gonna need right here, I've already got that mounted in the bottom. In my little 3D print, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but I put a little hole through it, and that's just so I can get some little needle nose pliers like this and just help me work that little spring into the 2 retaining things at the bottom. They're the identical to these ones right here. My 3D print didn't snap off very good, but basically you're gonna wind it in like this. The way I did it in the bottom is I just kind of wedged a little piece of paper in here to spread that like that. I fed it down on the bottom, looked at it, got my little needle nose pliers, and once you kind of get it guided, you can't really see on camera here, but once you get it guided into the first hole, you can sort of just twist from up here and kind of get your pliers and just push a little bit, and it'll wind all the way through, but you can see it's in fact wound in there, and I actually got it on both sides. I fed it back through there and wound it on this side. So it's fully encapsulated in there. This spring can no longer come out. It's stuck in the bottom. So now we essentially need to do the same thing on the top. Right, this guy's gonna wind through this first set and around in the back set, and then these two pieces will be joined. So let's go ahead and wind that in this little top piece really quick. Spread that a little bit and get it in this little first piece here. So there it's starting to go. valves are one. This is a little cap. Right here, this is just a little hole that's going to match up to the opposite side of the Tomy timer. So this one goes on this hole right here. And so all you need to do here is just get a little piece of wire or a ring, like on an earring or something like that, and then just, you know, ring that together. So that's going to stay right there. And then on this end, you're going to use your rubber band. So your rubber band snaps in there, or you could even use a piece of string or something, but your rubber band snaps in there, comes down here and winds around here. And then there's one more hole in this, and there's the hole right there. That's the hole that you're going to tie your parachute off to. So you're going to tie your parachute here, so when the parachute launches, it's still stuck to the rocket, and then, you know, it can float down. So that's just a little hole for doing that. Okay. There we go, now it's snapped. Anyway, okay, so that's in there like that. And then, all right, so I got my little rubber band in place there. It just goes under there like that. This is gonna wrap down there and hook on there like that. So these are little parachutes that I got off online. I'll again link down in the description if you want to buy these same ones. They work pretty well. And you basically just detach a little parachute guy. We're not going to be using him. And then we tie this into this extra hole. So I'll tie that off and then we'll show you how the whole contraption works. Okay, we are ready. So let's go ahead and wind up the parachute. I've tried a few different ways. I don't really think there's a specific winding pattern that matters all that much. The room. And then off it goes down into the bottom. So this just pushes down your plunger. And just the force there of the parachute down inside. There we go. And that keeps the cap on. And then kind of wind this around once or so like this. And then that's going to hook on like this. Whoops, I did that on the wrong side. So this is going to hook like, there we go, like that. And then you just wind it up. So you can kind of time it, right? I'm going to wind this up, maybe 2 winds or something. That's going to be, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds, as much as you need on your rocket. Anyway, so we'll let this go and you'll see this guy's going to pop out. Boom! Pop goes the weasel. Out comes your parachute that you saw in the video. So that is the basic assembly of the Tomy timer. Link down in the description for the 3D files if you want to print these on your own. Also link in the description for a full tutorial on how to model this on your own in case you want to make your own, make modifications for your own specific rocket sizes and things like that. Yeah, anyway, next part. Right, now the little springs inside here that I used, I designed this entire thing around the size of the spring, and this is the exact springs I bought. You can see, this is probably going to be important, but they're about 1 pound, 0.4, and there they are. That's the part number. You can see there's 3.5. There's all the dimensions there. It comes in a 2-piece. I think I bought this one at Lowe's, so you may want to check that out. My initial part was to tear apart a toilet paper holder, because there's a spring inside of here. And it's a pretty strong spring, so you have to have a bit stronger force, and this one worked just perfect for my application. Anyway, I wanted to quickly show that because that'll probably be important if you end up doing the same thing. One other little tweak you might want to make is just print yourself a little piece like this of the same diameter and just attach that to the bottom. As this rocket's coming down, of course, the parachute's like this, so the rocket's falling like this. If it hits a rock or something on its way down, it could bend up the end. You can see this has been launched a bunch of times and it's starting to get a little bit smashed. And when that starts to get smashed, it's really hard to get over the top of the tube. All right, here we go. We got the rocket loaded. We got the rocket loaded. We got the timer on. Set for about 3 seconds. First voyage, we have no idea how this is gonna go, but here goes nothing. Go. Oh, it's deployed like the jet. Go get it, girls. It worked. pretty easy. I mean, this isn't rocket science, folks. Tips or tricks, leave them down in the comments in the video. Show us what you made, and we'll see you guys in the next one.